Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive where we're going just outside Toronto.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, to Mississauga.
Oh,
We're going to be looking at how their transit agency, it's called MiWay.
MiWay.
Yeah, MiWay tackled a problem that I think we've all faced at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to figure out a way to make their system better, specifically public transit,
Yeah.
but make those improvements based on ideas from their own people.
Right.
So our main source today is going to be a case study on MiWay.
Okay.
And honestly, some of what they found was pretty unexpected.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's so interesting to me is that this isn't just a story about buses and routes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really about a cultural shift within MiWay,
Yeah.
one that allowed employees at every level to contribute to real innovation.
Exactly. And they went from a system of, get this, carbon forms.
Oh, wow.
Can you even imagine that?
Really?
Yeah, carbon forms to a digital platform that really opened the floodgates for employee ideas.
Ah.
And get this, some of these ideas even turned into multi-million-dollar projects. Wow.
All because they listened to the people who were dealing with these issues every single day.
You know, it's funny how we often think of innovation as this big top-down thing.
Yeah.
But MiWay's experience shows that sometimes the best ideas come from the people who are closest to the work. They're the ones who see the inefficiencies,
Yeah.
the bottlenecks, the things that could be done better.
Absolutely, so true. And in this case, like, imagine you're a bus driver or a mechanic,
Yeah,
maybe working in the call center.
right.
You see something that could be improved,
Uh-huh.
but the only way to report it is with this three-part carbon form.
It's like,
I know it's like sending a message by carrier pigeon
yeah,
in the age of, instant messaging.
right.
No
Yeah.
wonder they weren't getting a lot of feedback.
It's almost comical when you think about it,
Yeah.
but it highlights a really crucial point.
What's that?
That even seemingly minor hurdles, like outdated processes, can just totally stifle innovation.
Think about it if you know it's going to take a ton of effort just to get your idea heard.
Yeah.
Are you really even going to bother?
You're probably not.
Probably not.
So that's where My Idea comes in.
Okay.
It was a pilot program using a digital platform called IdeaScale.
Idea scale.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a supercharged suggestion box,
Interesting.
but with some really smart features built in.
And I think it's important to emphasize that they didn't just jump on the tech bandwagon blindly.
Yeah, they were really smart about it.
They took a very strategic approach.
Yeah.
They started small,
Mm-hmm.
focusing My Idea on specific areas,
Mm-hmm.
like bus schedules, routes, infrastructure.
Yeah.
This allowed them to kind of test the platform,
Right.
gather feedback,
Mm-hmm.
refine the process
Mm-hmm.
before rolling it out to the whole organization.
You're right. They were really thoughtful about it, and they also created tailored campaigns for different departments.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so customer service, technology, operations, maintenance, because they recognize that good ideas can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
For sure. And you know what? It worked.
Awesome.
Those initial 250 ideas they got during the pilot program,
Yep.
well, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, wow.
MidIdea now has over 1,600 ideas.
That's amazing.
And get this, around 400 of those are actually being implemented.
It really is. And it gets to the heart of what they were trying to achieve. A cultural shift.
Yeah.
They wanted to create an environment where employees felt empowered to share their ideas, knowing that they would be taken seriously.
Absolutely. And one of the ways they did that was by grouping those 1,600 ideas by topic,
Okay.
which not only helped them to, prioritize and allocate resources, but it also showed employees that their input was valued.
Right.
That's something that any organization could learn from,
For sure.
regardless of industry.
Absolutely. But I think what's really impressive is they didn't just collect ideas.
Yeah.
They actually put them into action.
Right.
And we're not talking about small incremental changes here. Some of these ideas led to really significant improvements, like a multi-million-dollar project to revamp signage and digital wayfinding across their entire transitway system.
Wow. And that project actually stemmed from bus operators who noticed that the signage at certain stations was confusing for riders. They submitted their feedback through My Idea,
Okay.
and it caught the attention of management.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
It's a perfect illustration of how frontline employees can provide invaluable insights.
right.
They're the ones interacting with riders every single day, so they have a firsthand understanding of what works and what doesn't.
So true. And in this case, their feedback triggered a pretty major undertaking.
Oh, wow.
MiWay brought in an architectural and engineering firm, did a bunch of studies, analyzed all kinds of data, all to make sure the new signage and digital wayfinding tools were actually effective.
That's impressive.
Yeah, they really went all out.
And that level of commitment's really important.
Yeah.
It shows employees that their ideas are not only heard, but they're actually taken seriously enough to, like, invest in.
Yeah.
That can be a game changer for morale and overall engagement.
It makes you wonder what could happen in other organizations if they tapped into that kind of frontline knowledge.
Yeah.
Imagine like the potential for improvement in healthcare education, even government services.
Absolutely.
Right.
But, it's not just about implementing every single idea that comes through the pipeline.
Right.
There needs to be a process for vetting, prioritizing, and realistically assessing feasibility.
Yeah.
MiWay seems to have struck a good balance there, judging by their track record.
And one of the keys to their success was the way they used Idea Scale.
Okay.
It's not just a passive suggestion box.
Right.
It's a dynamic platform with features that allow employees to vote on ideas,
Interesting.
track their progress, and even collaborate with each other.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That collaborative element is crucial. It allows ideas to kind of evolve and gain momentum,
Yeah.
turning individual suggestions into team efforts.
Right.
And the voting system is a clever way to gauge employee buy-in
Yeah.
and to prioritize the most impactful ideas,
It also creates a sense of transparency and ownership.
right?
Employees can see that their ideas are being considered and discussed openly, which fosters trust and reinforces the idea that their contributions matter.
And that kind of cultural shift doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
It requires a conscious effort from leadership
Yeah.
to create an environment where feedback is welcomed and valued.
Yeah.
MiWay's story is a great example of how to do it right.
So let's shift gears for a moment.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the positive aspects of relying on employee feedback,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, are there any potential downsides or challenges that organizations should be aware of?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's not always a smooth ride.
Yeah.
One potential challenge is managing expectations.
Mm.
Not every idea can be implemented. And sometimes even good ideas might not be feasible due to resource constraints or other logistical hurdles.
So how can organizations avoid disappointment or frustration when that happens?
I think transparency is key.
Okay.
It's important to communicate clearly why certain ideas might not be moving forward
Yeah.
and to keep employees informed about the decision-making process.
Makes sense. What about the risk of getting overwhelmed with too many ideas?
Right.
I imagine it could be difficult to sift through hundreds or even thousands of suggestions.
Absolutely. That's where a well-designed platform like IdeaScale can be a lifesaver.
Okay.
Features like topic categorization voting systems and comment threads can help streamline the process and make it easier to identify the most promising ideas.
And it probably also helps to have clear criteria for evaluating ideas.
Yeah.
What are some factors that organizations should consider?
Well, it depends on the specific goals and context,
Right.
but some common criteria include feasibility,
Hmm.
potential impact alignment with strategic objectives, and of course, cost effectiveness. It's about finding that sweet spot between innovation and practicality.
Speaking of practicality, one of the things that impressed me about MiWay's approach was their focus on implementation.
Yeah.
They didn't just want to collect ideas, they wanted to see them come to life.
Right, and that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a great idea. It's another thing entirely to turn that idea into a reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that often requires overcoming obstacles, navigating bureaucracy, and securing the necessary resources.
So how did MiWay manage to overcome those challenges and actually implement so many employee-driven improvements? What were some of their secrets to success?
Well, based on the case study, it seems like they had a few things going for them.
Okay.
Firstly, they had strong leadership buy-in from the top down.
Yeah.
That's crucial because it creates a sense of urgency
Mm-hmm.
and sends a clear message that employee feedback is valued.
That makes a lot of sense. What else?
Secondly, they had a dedicated team responsible for managing the MiIdea program. This team wasn't just passively collecting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They were actively engaging with employees, providing feedback, and working to remove roadblocks to implementation.
So they were really invested in the success of the program.
Absolutely. They saw it as a strategic initiative, not just a side project.
Yeah.
And that level of commitment made a big difference.
You know, it's fascinating to see how something that started with a simple desire to improve public transit ended up transforming the entire culture of an organization.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
So what can other organizations learn from MiWay's experience? If they want to create a similar culture of innovation, where should they start?
Well, I think the first step is to ask themselves a simple question.
What's that?
Are we truly open to hearing what our employees have to say?
That's a good one.
And are we willing to create a system that empowers them to share their ideas without fear of judgment or reprisal?
Yeah.
If the answer to those questions is yes, then they're already on the right track.
It all comes back to creating that sense of psychological safety, right? Where people feel comfortable speaking up,
Right.
knowing they won't be punished or ridiculed for sharing their thoughts, even if those thoughts are a little outside the box.
Exactly. It's
Like,
about fostering a culture of trust and respect where every voice is valued.
mm-hmm.
And that can be incredibly powerful, not just for, improving a transit system,
Right?
but for any organization facing challenges or seeking to innovate.
This deep dive has really highlighted that for me.
Yeah.
We started talking about Mississauga's buses and routes,
Uh-huh.
but what's really stuck with me is this idea of unlocking potential.
Yeah.
They found a way to tap into the collective wisdom of their workforce,
Hmm.
and the results speak for themselves.
It's a compelling example of how a seemingly simple shift in approach can lead to remarkable outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's something that any organization, regardless of size or industry,
Right.
can learn from and adapt to their own unique circumstances.
So as we wrap up, I'd love for our listeners to take a moment and think about their own workplaces, or even just their daily lives.
Yeah. Where are there opportunities to encourage feedback, to listen more intently, to create space for those aha moments that can lead to real change?
Perhaps there's a process that could be streamlined, a system that could be improved,
Right.
or even just a better way to communicate and collaborate.
Right.
MiWay's story reminds us that innovation often starts with a willingness to ask questions, to challenge the status quo, and to embrace the diverse perspectives of those around us.
And if you're interested in learning more about the platform that helped MiWay achieve all of this,
Yeah.
it's called Idea Scale.
Idea Scale.
We'll be sure to include a link in the show notes.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive, and I hope it's left you feeling inspired and maybe even a little empowered to spark some positive change in your own world. Thanks for joining us.